in nursing as a profession and also in nursing as in, you know, feeding babies from your boob. Hi YouTube, so it is Elizabeth back again with another video for you guys. I am working on putting away all my pumping stuff because I'm officially done pumping, but I thought a kind of helpful video for those of you going back to work or needing to pump on the go is a video about what is in my pumping bags. And I filmed that for you guys today, and definitely let me know if you have any questions down below. I'll try to link everything that I am showing. So obviously the most important thing in your pumping bag is going to be your pump, but the most important thing in a pumping bag is the bag itself. So I have two different bags that I used for pumping. This one I got off of Amazon, and it is kind of a cheap diaper bag backpack. It's nice because it was very well priced, easy to wipe down. It opens up nice and big, and then your pump can sit down in here. And then the reason why this is a good pumping bag is because you can open the back and pull out tubing and pump through there, and also put the charger in. This one was nice, a little bit more playful and whimsical. This would be one I would take with me if I was going out and about for the day and needing to pump in the car. Not necessarily one that I would take with me to work just because it didn't hold quite as much as my other pumping bag, which I will show you, and that's gonna be the one we're actually like getting ready. So this is my Sarah Wells pumping bag. They don't make this style anymore, but Sarah Wells in general makes a ton of different pumping bags. I still use this as my work bag even though I am no longer pumping, so it's definitely multifunctional. But Sarah Wells bags are expensive, so if you want a cheaper option, I will definitely leave the Amazon find down below. This one I did get on clearance because they were cleaning out this stock. They weren't going to stock this bag anymore, but in general I do like their bags. I've heard that they've got good customer service, and if you have any issues you can definitely reach out to them and they will help you solve those problems. So the Sarah Wells bags are nice because they have a place, let's see, they have two separate places for pumps, so you can pick which side you put it on. This is the side that I would put mine on, so it's nice and deep. But if you do need to charge your pump, it's a little bit tricky. It's a tight fit with the Spectra. I think the Modelas fit a little bit better in here, but it does fit in there and then can totally zip up so that you're ready. So obviously, most important thing is gonna be your pump. And then I have the S1, which is the rechargeable Spectra pump, but it's really important that you have charged your Spectra the night before you are going to work or going to be out and about. And then I always make sure that I always brought my charger because like there's nothing worse than being pumping and then it run out of batteries. I pump in the car on the way to work though, so that's really why it's important for me to make sure that mine is charged beforehand. So I'm just gonna kind of walk you through all the things in the order that I would use them. So we talked about the pump and the charger. Normally the charger, there are lots of different pockets inside of this. I would just slip it down inside of one of these pockets. And then for being out and about and pumping in the car, obviously you're gonna need your tubing and you're gonna need to make sure that you have your backflow protectors. I no longer have backflow protectors because I threw them away because I am done pumping, and mine at least would get milk in them, so I'd have to wash them, so I just threw them away when I was done pumping. But you're gonna need those in your tubing because you cannot pump without backflow protectors. And you are going to need a set of bottles to pump into and a set of flanges. I use the 21mm flanges. I've never really talked a lot about I've talked a lot about pumping, hello, and I talk a lot in general, but I haven't really talked a lot about my flange size. So with May I used the 24mm and had no issues, but with Holden I was pumping so much more, and I basically realized I had something called elastic nipples, which are basically what they sound like. Basically my nipples will, when hooked up to a pump, will fill any space that is available for them, regardless of if it's too big or too small. And so I realized that I was using the wrong size flange with May the whole time, but because I wasn't pumping that frequently, it wasn't that big of a deal. Whereas with Holden, I made sure and I got fitted, and I can leave a tool for fitting your nipples down below. But basically nothing should be rubbing and nothing should be painful. But part of making sure that nothing is rubbing is giving yourself a little bit of lubrication. So I always make sure that I had some coconut oil in a small container to bring with me, and then I would bring a Ziploc bag for any dirty pump parts because I wouldn't wash my pump parts at work. I had multiple sets of pump parts. So for pumping in the car, you're gonna need these bad boys, and I have a whole video about this. Hands-free pumping bra is a really great thing to have, so I always have my hands-free pumping bra packed. And then one of these car seat nursing covers. I never use a cover for nursing, but it is nice in the car just because I feel like it's a little jarring to be like driving down the street and then you stop at a stoplight and you look over and you see somebody's boobs. And like, it's fine if you don't want to use it, and I didn't always use it, but it was just something that I was cognizant of, especially if I was gonna like go through the Starbucks drive-thru in the morning and be pumping. I just really think it's nice to not have everything totally exposed in those situations where people aren't really expecting to see your breasts. But again, if that's not for you and you're like, I don't care who sees me, more power to you. I'm like that a lot of the time too. Honestly, I feel like I need to write like just like a thank you note for all the gracious employees at Starbucks who never said anything about seeing my nipples or hearing my pump going off in the background. Like, you know how it does. So anyway, it was a great interpretation. So all of these things are super important, and I would just make sure that they were in my bag ready to go in the morning. So like I said, I always bring 2 sets of pump parts, so I would just have another set of clean pump parts. These honestly would probably be the ones that I use in the morning because they were just like kind of like ready to go at the top. I always would have spare sets of everything, so spare backflow protectors, spare valves, spare tubing, just in case somehow I forgot something, or in case something were to malfunction. Like I had a valve stop working at one point, like it got a little rip in it and it stopped working, but I had the extras, so I was able to continue to pump. Because when you exclusively pump, like your pump is like your life and your baby, and you want to be sure that you're able to pump at all times. It can be really anxiety inducing when you're unable to pump for whatever reason, so I like to always have everything that I needed. I always have extras, and if I use extra, I buy another extra. Target now has Spectra stuff, so I would just get it off of there. But there's also a lot of like knockoff brand stuff that does work with the Spectras, but just because I could go into Target and physically buy it, that's the way that I kind of found to be easier. Another thing that I like to have is some nipple cream, just in case things are feeling a little bit sore for whatever reason, to have that on board. So that's something else that I would have in my pump bag ready to go. Hand sanitizer is another thing to have in your pump bag, because obviously we want to keep things as clean as possible for baby to keep infection at bay. So washing your hands before and after pumping is important. I smell really bad when I'm breastfeeding postpartum, so I always would bring these underarm deodorant wipes, and then also I like the Love Beauty and Planet no aluminum deodorant. I don't use antiperspirant. People sweat, it's what your body is meant to do, but I do use deodorant that it doesn't have aluminum or anything kind of toxic in it. So these are 2 things that I do like to have on hand, and I still keep these in my bag because sometimes you get sweaty and you don't want to smell, you know? So there's that. Another thing that's really nice to have is a phone charger, because when you're pumping, it's really nice to be focused on something else besides pumping. And studies have even shown that if you are able to focus on something else besides the milk falling into the bottles and obsessively freaking out about how much your output is, you will make more milk because you are more relaxed. So having a phone charger is good, because there's nothing like your phone dying at the beginning of a pump session and then you're like, oh my gosh, and now I just have to sit here. It's not fun. So milk storage bags I like to have, and it's important to have. So normally I would, these are my favorite ones. I get them at Target. They're only at Target apparently according to packaging. I would just put the bag like this, right, because we're trying to maximize space. Just tuck that in there. Because I was an overproducer when I was pumping, everything that I pumped at work typically would end up in the freezer. Now, if you are somebody who is a just enougher or an underproducer, it makes more sense to bring reusable bottles. But because I didn't want to transfer from reusable bottles into bags when I got home and just put it directly in the bags, that's why I did that, because I would end up freezing most of the stuff that I got at work because I only work 2 days a week. Another thing that is really nice to have in your pump bag, especially if you are going to be trying to reuse pump parts during the day and you want to be washing and sanitizing, Medela has wipes. That's more what I would have, but I didn't have any left. This is the Quick Clean Breast Pump and Accessory Sanitizer. No harsh chemicals, gentle enough to clean nurseries, no rinse, no white, and doesn't leave any residue. So that's something that I would have packed and ready to go. Sarah Wells also makes super cute little wet bags. So instead of the Ziploc bag, this might be something that I would bring. And they also have a little mat that comes out so that you have a place to put your supplies that is nice and clean, so you don't have to worry about that. Especially if you're drying them at work, because we shouldn't be wiping with paper towels. We should be letting everything air dry. Having a place that is clean to do that is going to be really beneficial if you don't have more than 1 set of pumping supplies. And then the very last thing that I would bring is a little cooler. It comes with a little cooler pack, which I have in my freezer, but that would all tuck in here, and that way I had a safe way to bring my milk back and keep everything nice and cold in the interim. And I would, when I get to work, put the freezer pack in the freezer so that it was ready to go. And this is honestly a very tight fit for everything. A lot of times I would not be able to zip this closed, so another option would be to have this out and attach it to one of the straps, just so that I was able to close this bag, because it's a tight fit with everything in there. The last and final thing I always bring with me, but typically would be carrying it, is a big old water bottle. This is a Yeti. I bought a Clean Canteen, I believe, straw at Target, which fits inside of that nicely because it's silicone on top but stainless steel on the bottom. I love cold water. Drinking water is really, really important when you're breastfeeding, because your body will just dehydrate you and doesn't care, and it will affect your supply if you are super dehydrated. Something that I love with water is lemon. I was one of those crazy people. I used to bring 2 lemons with me to work, but lemons go bad really quickly, and so I have found this lemon, True Lemon, made from real lemons, crystallized lemon. I got it off of Amazon. I'll link it down below. So I always bring these with me, and I put 2 in a full 32-ounce Yeti. And that is like very delicious and helps me drink my water quick, so that I'm drinking more and staying more hydrated, which is really important in nursing, especially in nursing as a profession, and also in nursing as in, you know, feeding babies from your boobs. So anyway, that is what I packed in my pump bag. I hope that is helpful for you guys going back to work and pumping. And definitely, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, leave them down below. Is there anything that you pack in your pump bag that I didn't pack in mine? Because I'd love to hear it. And I love when mamas share tips and tricks with each other. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.